Hi, I'm Scott Mattman. It's dinner time and you're hungry for something, but you don't know what. The dollar menu at McDonald's is not an option. You have a whole week to go before payday. There's not enough in your kitchen to make a full meal. How many times does this happen to you in our current economic situation? Living on a limited income that I receive only once a month, it happens to me all too often. After several years in the Army and having to learn creative ways to make a meal out in the field, I was able to learn a few tips that I can use at home. Today, I'd like to share a couple of ways to make a meal on limited supplies, even when money is tight. First, creating a meal on limited supplies is just combining things to make a meal out of. I mean, what I'm talking about here is you don't have enough for a three-course meal like meat, potatoes, and a veggie. And you know, it's the end of the week or the month, and you don't have any money to go to the store and buy anything. But you got a lot of miscellaneous items still left in the kitchen. Well, one of the things here is you want to combine, like you can make a side dish into a complete meal or the main course, and you want to be creative when you're doing this. I learned this while I was in the Army going out on field exercises. They'd bring some meals out to us, like breakfast and usually dinner, but for lunchtime we'd have MREs, meal ready to eat. And it's a packaged meal, it's not very tasty. So we'd bring some extra items out, like SpaghettiOs in a can or Spam. And when our field exercise was done, generally what we do is we get together and have kind of like a military cookout, I guess you could say, where we combine everything together and we just feed like 20 people. So if you could take two small cans of SpaghettiOs and feed 20 people, that's a lot. But it's a matter of combining other things in with just the SpaghettiOs. It's not just the two cans. Um, some recipes that I use with chicken. Well, it's basically one recipe that I'm going to share today, but it's a chicken and rice combo. You can use chicken ramen noodles, chicken and anything else you like. I mean, it's up to you. But I use the boneless, skinless chicken, and of course I use frozen, but I let it thaw. If you use fresh, of course, it's going to be more costly for you. The way I prep the chicken is I pan fry it. I put a lot of butter in there. I put the chicken breast in whole. I let it white up a little bit. Then I pull it out and start cutting it into chunks. The reason I do this is it makes the chicken go a lot farther in what I'm doing. If you got a lot of people to feed, you want to cut it up pretty small. If it's just you, of course, if you want bigger chunks, you can do it however you want there. But the thing is, you don't want to cook it fully. You want to cook it most of the way to where it's white, but it's not tough. Doing this in a skillet, it's a little bit harder. Making the rice, I use Rice-A-Roni. You can use whatever you want. There's several varieties out there. Now, when you start making the rice, you want to follow the package directions. Um, Even though you're following the package directions, you want to add a little bit extra water because what I do is I put the chicken in with the rice while it's cooking. And what this does is it finishes cooking the chicken. It allows the chicken to soak up the flavors of what you're using, and of course, it makes the chicken a lot more tender when you're doing this. When you're when you do it this way, you also want to extend the cooking time by a couple of minutes, not much at all, just to make sure that when the directions on the package tell you to cook it for a set time, is to soak up the water for the rice that you're actually cooking. So when you add in chicken to it, the chicken's soaking up some waters, which is why you add a little extra, and you want to extend the cooking time just by a couple of minutes to make sure everything's done right. This meal here is completely inexpensive, depending on how you shop. But rice you can buy, it's 50 cents to a dollar for a box. It just depends on the variety you buy, if it's on sale. The chicken, of course, I buy a bulk frozen bag, and there's about 6 chicken breasts in it, and it goes for about a dollar. Or, well, $6 for a bag, but about a dollar a chicken breast, which is one. If you buy fresh, you're gonna pay about $2 a pound, and it's gonna be really expensive that way. Something else that I do is spice up mac and cheese, where I use smoked sausage or cubed ham. And when I'm using the smoked sausage, of course, I slice it up and pan fry it. If I'm using the ham, I'll put it in a skillet too, just to warm it up, get it warm. And then, of course, I make the mac and cheese. Just follow on the package directions. Any brand you want, doesn't matter. You can use Velveeta shells of cheese. You can use Kraft mac and cheese. You can use the store-bought brand. It doesn't matter. Of course, I cook the mac and cheese before I add anything to it. I don't add in the smoked sausage or the ham while the macaroni itself is boiling. Um, when this is when I add in, when it's done, I start mixing in the sauce to make the cheese whatever. Like Velveeta, if I add the cheese sauce, or if I'm crafting, I put in the powdered cheese. This is when I add in the smoked sausage and the ham, and then I mix it up real well. And of course, this is inexpensive. Macaroni is mostly 50 cents a box. Sausage or the ham, you're going to pay about $2. So next time you're at the store, take a look at. And the total cook time for this is only going to run you about 20 minutes. And I hope you enjoyed listening to my unique ways to make a meal out of not so common items. Now, whether you try these recipes or create your own, you should be guaranteed a full belly. Even if you decide to try something different, I hope I have helped you to look more closely at what you have in your cupboards and, to make a meal out of. The barest essentials. I always find I'm happier with a full belly as opposed to an empty one. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any audience for this, so it seems like I'm just kind of looking around to make like I've got an audience. I do apologize for the tardiness on this one. It's just been, there was a lot of issues come up. Thank you.